You're listening to Find Your Strong with Christine and Ella. I'm Christine, a personal trainer.
And I'm Ella, a nutritionist. And we're both also intuitive eating counselors, both fiercely non-diet and both done with toxic wellness messaging.
In these episodes, we talk honestly about how to care for your body without guilt, shame, or restriction. We are so glad you're here. Let's find your strong. So this week we have a wonderful guest for you. Well, to be honest, we have a lot of wonderful guests.
We do.
But I was very excited this week. So we've got Deb Benfield on Instagram. She's Aging Body Liberation, and please go check her out. I'm just going to read through her bio, Ella, really quickly for everybody. Deb is a registered dietitian, nutrition therapist, and body image coach with over 40 years of experience helping people heal their relationships with food, movement, and their bodies. This is the part that I'm most interested in. Her work centers anti-ageism, body liberation, and trauma-informed care. She's the author of Unapologetic Aging: How to Mend and Nourish Your Relationship with Your Body. And yeah, and you can work with her. We're going to put all the details in the show notes of how you can work with her. But we had a great conversation, didn't we, Ella?
Oh, amazing conversation. And we hit on all of those things that she sort of put in her bio, the anti-ageism kind of work and the the working for towards pleasure and satisfaction and being in partnership and relationship with our body rather than fighting it and trying to fix it all the time.
And we talked about the whole strength training movement and the messages around movement and food that come at us as soon as we hit menopause or as soon as we turn 45 and beyond. And she's so self-assured and confident in herself. It just comes across beautifully that she's done the work.
Yes.
And you can imagine how it would be so lovely to work with her because she embodies it rather than just kind of saying it. Do you know what I mean? So it's a feisty episode. It's great. You will love Deb. So we can't wait to hear your thoughts. Let us know by dropping us a share, follow, little review would be lovely. Enjoy. A huge welcome today to Deb Benfield. How are you? We are so excited to have you on, Deb.
Thank you so much for inviting me and including what I have to say and what you're doing with your podcast and all your listeners. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, we're excited to hear what you've got to share because you've been doing this work for a long time and you must have such a lot of experience and expertise and picked up things along the way. So we're really, really keen to hear a little bit about your story, obviously about your new book, which I have ordered, but it has not arrived yet. I really wanted to have a little look before speaking to you, but Christina's prepared.
Yeah, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. We're kind of talking about aging quite a lot because I've just turned 50. I've entered the 50s, which is wonderful. And Ella is hot on my tails, aren't you?
August is me.
Yeah, so we're the perimenopausal.
Yeah,
it's becoming relevant now.
Yeah, it gets much better.
Yeah.
So I just hardest part.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Perfect. We just wanted to maybe kick things off with hearing a little bit about your story. Given that you've been doing this job for 40 years, it would be super interesting to hear how things have changed because 40 years ago, from our point of view, we're both intuitive eating counselors. Intuitive eating wasn't even a thing in a book. So you must have seen all sorts of trends, all sorts of different things and picked up loads of different, trends and fads and things along the way. How did you navigate that? And how did things change from when you first started to where you are now?
Yeah, I think my internal compass must have been pretty tuned in to trusting the body and understanding pretty quickly that dictating to a human being how they should nourish themselves felt harmful and
Hmm.
like a waste of time, frankly. So I early on pursued working with therapists with my clients. And I was very fortunate in that one of the therapists that I developed a relationship with was an eating disorder therapist. So
Hmm.
also learning quickly about weight stigma and anti-fat bias and how damaging all of that was, because that was kind of what I was experiencing anyway with the clients that I was working with in larger bodies.
Hmm.
So it kind of naturally evolved. And because of my support from my supervising therapist, really got curious about other ways to approach supporting people and from an internal lens rather than telling folks what to do from an external expert kind of perspective, which felt wrong also. Before I became a dietitian, I was into studying world religions and psychology. So that was already my orientation.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I'm a very unusual dietitian from the get-go.
Hmm.
And I think all of that informed my curiosity and any continuing ed that I pursued. I was very fortunate that I found the right people.
Hmm.
And then the intuitive eating book came along, and that was like, yes, precisely.
Hmm.
It was just kind of affirming and now a container for us to all like orient ourselves around. And there's some problems with intuitive eating too, if you want to talk about that. I mean, it's not for everybody. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, I would love to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I think we've had Evelyn and Elise, so the
Huh?
co-founders of Intuitive Eating on the podcast. And
Yeah,
I'd be really interested because I've heard it so many times from clients. It's not for me. It's absolutely not for me. Did
yeah.
you want to dig into that a little bit, Deb?
It's totally up to you.
Yeah, I would love to. Do you want to talk from your experience personally or with your clients or just generally?
I
Um,
I mean, I've just had so much time with clients, and I am a very curious and respectful and compassionate provider in that I lean into what is supporting my client and trusting their lived experience. And I hear them loud and clear. And now I think we have data that supports that not everybody has access to interpreting their hunger and their fullness.
Mhm.
And it really does contribute to the storyline that I'm wrong and I'm broken and that I'm beyond repair. And, therefore, the next diet is the only thing available for a lot of people. That's the only thing they're aware of.
Mm.
So I know you already know this, but there's also some timing involved. I think I work mostly with eating disorder clients.
mhm.
So early in that process, people just don't have an internal connection and certainly don't have access to trusting anything
Mm.
that may come up, right?
Mm.
So they need somewhat of a flexible structure to go by, to at least with timing and ideas around some balance and pursuing satisfaction, which is one of my favorite things to talk about.
Mhm.
Not letting yourself get too hungry. Those kinds of external guidelines are so helpful until a person
Mhm.
can get their footing with us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there may or may not arrive there. They may, we don't really know until people are really engaged.
Yeah. I
And yeah,
totally agree with that actually. Just jump in there quickly with
mm,
the you got to meet the person where they're at, and if they haven't got that access, and I'm thinking personally of I've got a lot of clients who or have had in the past as well, who are neurodivergent, and for a
yeah,
lot of
Right.
them having access to those internal signals is
Yeah.
really confusing if at all possible. So
Yeah.
I think seeing the intuitive eating framework as a flexible approach of, what can we use, what can we pick out of there that is relevant to you, I think is really important rather than going, no, you have to do this, this, and that. And we go from
yeah,
principle 1 to principle 10.
yeah.
And we have to, cover all of them. I think that's not serving anybody. to be
Right.
completely honest. So I would be completely in agreement with you that it's probably not for everybody if we take it as a this is how we need to do it. Because then again we have a prescriptive kind of framework and we want to move away from that and get people to kind of feel their way around it and see what works for them. And
Right.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
And
if
sorry, Deborah.
That's all right. If our goal is to help people trust themselves and trust their
Mm,
bodies, ultimately, I think that's the goal.
yeah.
And like help people find that they can do this to
Hmm.
understand that, wow, I am very capable of
Hmm.
regulating my eating, and I'm very
Hmm.
capable of being confident in the way that I nourish myself and
Yeah.
support my body. It's like following some internal connection that may or may not have like a root that you
Mm,
can slowly water and nourish and create over time. So it may
mm,
take time. I think this is not a quick and easy, and it's not a straight line. People
yeah.
have to have some access to discovering what they can
Mm,
discover about their actual strengths.
mm,
Yeah, and it's certainly from an eating disorder lens. So, when I was first in recovery from anorexia, there's no way. I have no idea what normal eating was, what a portion was, how to eat. I had zero clue. So it just wouldn't have been accessible at that point.
Yeah.
And certainly I mean, there's talk of kind of integrating intuitive eating into eating disorder recovery a little bit more.
Mhm.
And I see value in that in some ways because my daughter is sadly struggling with anorexia at the minute, and it's coming from a very tight, it's almost regimented when you have your snack, when you have your lunch, when you have how much you have exactly to, oh, you're on your own now. There needs to be a graduated approach to somehow, or I think you can just go back and forward and just never actually find that freedom that we're all looking for.
mm,
Yeah. Yeah. The
mm,
freedom. And that liberation, is so deeply connected to your confidence in yourself, your trust in your body, your
mm,
relationship. I mean, when I was thinking about our conversation today, the word that just was dominating me was relationship. And I mean, I think that's what I really think about the most. And that's what I wrote about in my book.
mhm,
I think if you can really stop looking at your body as like this object to fix
mm.
and shift into a relational experience, it really does, to me, make the biggest difference and
Yeah.
does the most healing. And that includes with movement.
Hmm.
Mm. Yeah. That was one of my favorite sentences from your bio when I read it. You said it's to reconnect with their bodies as trusted partners. So there's that relationship
Yeah.
aspect, not objects or
Mhm.
projects to fix. And
Yeah.
I think that is so um poignant, and I love that. That's what our work is all about, isn't it? It's to build the trust, to be in partnership with our bodies rather than to fight it at every single corner. So
Yeah. And
I
it
love
really
that.
does inform your choices. If you can
100%.
remember to reorient and
Mm,
ask yourself that question with a lot of curiosity,
mm,
you'll find your way. It's
mm.
very, very helpful, but it does require some effort around developing that trust, which is not an easy goal.
I,
Our
th I think
culture, everything is coming at us to make us feel like we can't be trusted.
Totally.
I think it is that stage of life, isn't it, where it's that intersection of diet culture and ageism, isn't it? It's like,
Mm,
yay! And now, so we thought we'd almost got a handle on it, and then, and then it's just coming at us now from all directions. We are something to fix. Every aspect of who we are can be
mm,
fixed.
mm.
I work really hard to not constantly be enraged.
Yeah. That must be hard.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, lots of reasons, but this whole, like the menopause space is a dangerous space.
It really is. Yeah, we've talked about it a lot over the last few months because it is obviously something on our minds. and you get bombarded with
Mhm.
solutions and fixes and gummies and all sorts of nonsense. And you feel like you have to buy into it because obviously it's going to make you feel better because, n equals one decided this is the supplement I'm selling you, therefore it must work for you too. And it's just infuriating.
It is. And
Mm,
then longevity medicine is woven into that now too, with
mm.
So
what
we're
is the super agers. Just never
Yeah.
I that's the bit that I wanted to talk to you about because I'm holding your book up now, which is available everywhere. Put that in at the end. The problem with moving for longevity, and this is fascinating for us because we've had several influencers on over the past few months, really, and we had Elizabeth from This Woman Lifts. What?
Hmm.
Yep.
Elizabeth Davies.
Davies from This Woman Lifts, who
Mm.
is, absolutely will die on this hill for strength training. But it really has got me thinking what you've written because I very much at the beginning thought there's too much pressure on women to lift weights. I'm getting really upset because it's another thing they have to do and they feel they're not quite measuring up and it's all. And then I sort of thought, but actually, it is really good for women over 50 to build strength so that they don't break bones and so that they're more agile and so that they can enjoy their life a bit more. And then I got confused.
Yeah.
So now I'm kind of somewhere in the middle where I kind of feel a bit upset at the way it's been sold to women. Because we were talking about this before we started recording. It's about the endless comparison, and we're not quite doing enough, and we have to be athletes now, and we're allowed to be strong, but only if it looks this way and not that way, and it's all very prescriptive. But yeah, I'd love to talk to you a bit about what you think about the problem of moving for longevity, and it's sort of yeah, where do you stand on that?
Well, when you first started describing this like quandary, because it is a quandary, I
Mm,
think we do have compelling data that it is very wise to do strength training. And from the lens that I just described around relationship, I think we have to honor, I mean, as much as you possibly can, to honor like what is going to make you feel more connected to your body, more
mhm,
alive, and maybe even like stronger could be of value. But I think you have to do some internal processing around what your values are and how you want to spend your precious time. Because we have to understand we are coming to the place that it's clear that we have less time.
Yep.
And so to clarify your values about how you want to spend that time and how you want to feel feels really important to me. It's like
mhm,
I have not dedicated time to heavy lifting
Hmm.
sessions. I love how I feel when I do yoga and when I go for
mhm,
hikes. And one of the questions that you sent me was around challenge. Like, I personally love feeling challenged within the things that I enjoy. Like, even dancing, I spontaneously dance as frequently as possible in my home or out in the world too. But in my home is where I just like I have music playing most of the time, and usually that music invites me to move my body. And I love how that feels. And sometimes I'll follow somebody who's trying to teach me a move too. And that's a challenge for my
mhm,
whole, it's great for my brain. I know there's new research on how dancing is like the number one
mhm.
recommendation for brain health,
Yeah,
which thrills me.
yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Things that allow you to move in playful ways and challenge you and get your brain engaged. I mean, I
Mm.
am aware that I need to develop muscle or protect my muscle mass. I'm very fortunate genetically. I think I got to start with more muscle mass than
Mhm,
some.
mhm,
And I've been a single mom, so I think my body had to do a lot of work
Hmm.
get me through most days and to support myself and my kids.
Hmm.
So I've had lots of opportunities for challenge, physical challenge, and that has benefited my muscle mass, but also my whole body and my spirit and my mood, right? So I
Mm.
just feel like we need to get out of the binary of like challenge versus care. I think there's a way to pull it all together, and it may look different days and different weeks.
Mm.
People with eating disorders have a very hard time with that kind of flexibility. Like to think about like it's okay to take a day off is
Yeah.
very tricky because it's all or nothing, right? And
Mm.
diet culture invites that all or nothingness.
Mm.
So to get playful and go, I can listen to my body, and today feels like a day that I need to rest or do a restorative yoga that really lets my nervous system get some of my own attention today. Like,
Mm.
say yes to that, and then really challenge yourself with a big hike that really pushes you. Another.
Mm.
And
But
I
I'm
think,
not getting to your strength training question. I'm not, I feel like I need to get to that too, because yes, we need to do what we can to include strength training if it fits how you want to live your life, if it honors your relationship with your body.
and
Yeah.
I think that's the key, isn't it? If it honors your relationship with your body. And I think
Hmm.
we're all very unique in our
Yeah.
paths. And we should, I think we're all looking at each other. What are they doing? We need to do the same. We need to do rather than sort of thinking about how do we feel, what works for us, or what feels good in our bodies. And I've always said the most important movement you can do is one that you're going to keep doing, that you
Yeah.
enjoy and keep coming back to. Because rather than doing, 6 months of heavy lifting and hating it and just never want to do it again, it's not,
Yeah.
the most important is something that you really love and you come back to again and again. But I just want to
Mm.
read from your book just for a second. So you've said with the problem of moving for longevity, prioritizing activities you believe are optimal for lifespan extension over those you genuinely enjoy reduces your capacity for playfulness, pleasure, and satisfaction. Movement motivated by fear takes the fun out of activities.
Mm.
And I just loved that so much because so often you forget about play and it gets all a bit serious, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's as a trainer, it's your clients are like, oh, where is it supposed to hurt? Is the question I hear the most. Where is it supposed to hurt?
Oh, that's so sad.
And I'm like, it's
Oh,
not supposed to.
oh my gosh.
You
Those,
know, that is, we've forgotten how to play and just actually enjoy
Mm.
moving our bodies, haven't we?
I mean, it's going to take me a while to get over that sentence.
Yeah. No, I'm not joking. It
Really
is like,
bothering.
That's awful,
Oh,
isn't it?
it's
oh,
just
Yeah.
consistently the one that comes back over and over. But
brain.
yes,
We have been brainwashed to think that there's only one way to do this, and that is to go through the pain.
Hmm.
I think
yeah.
that's business culture. Business culture really has us believing that we have to do our time and the pain.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
And Deb, did you ever have that relationship with movement yourself, where you saw it as punishing, or you saw it as a chore, or have you kind of early on sort of tuned into that feeling good in your body?
I was a runner for a while, but what I always said, I mean, the joke for me was always when it starts hurting, I stop doing it.
Mm.
I love
Yeah.
that
I
so much.
mean, I think it's a sign that your body's like, hey,
Hmm.
it's time to walk or take a rest or stretch or like I perceive that as information that needs to
Mm.
be honored. And as a yoga teacher, I tell all my folks like pushing through pain creates injury.
Yeah,
You have to listen.
100%.
Yeah, you have to listen, especially in yoga, when you're thinking that there is some sort of like full pose that you're supposed to be showing up as. I mean, as a yoga teacher, my constant focus is like poses are invitations into your body
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
not I
Absolutely.
teach as like everything creates sensation. So you can have connection to your body through sensation. And what do you do with that sensation rather than your body doing things to your body to create a pose?
Mm.
Afraid people push through body
Yeah.
information to get to this full expression and end up with injuries.
Uh,
Yeah.
all over
Yeah,
the place.
definitely.
I think training, I trained in Pilates in the last COVID during COVID, and that changed everything for me because it slowed everything down and it was
Oh,
tuning into your body and really just taking time rather than just,
Mm.
let's lift heavy, let's sweat, and I think, and I've brought that to my clients now, and it's made the world of difference. So again, the thing I say most is slow down.
Yeah.
I think I say that more than anything else. And most of them just want to get it over with. And I'm like, no, tune into your body. They're like,
but that tells you a lot. If you want to get it over with, you're obviously not enjoying it. You're doing it for a purpose that it has been set to you is the thing that you need to work on. It kind of loses the pleasure principle a little bit, doesn't it?
and I think so. I think I was looking at that question, Ella, just as you were saying about the movement doesn't have to be joyful in the moment. But I
Mm.
think I think we've covered that. Do you think?
Mm,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think I think we
yeah,
have.
yeah. It's nuance, isn't it? It's nuanced, and I like what you said, Deb, about you know there's a lot of shoulds. We should be doing this, we should be doing that. And this is, I mean, the strength training, whilst we have evidence that is beneficial, it's another should, isn't it? It's just
Mhm.
another thing in disguise. It's just like, oh, now we found something else that we can throw at people that they have to do, and if they don't do it, they're failing at life. It's
Yeah.
just another iteration, and it just keeps coming, and it's just so difficult to weed through it and find a way to really do connect with our bodies because we're being told left, right, and center what we should and shouldn't be doing. So how do we know? So tell us a little bit more about your passion about satisfaction and pleasure because that's come out in a lot of your posts. It seems like that is the kind of key to the
Mhm.
way that you work with people to
Yeah.
reignite that sense of pleasure and satisfaction.
Mhm. I just feel like the access to satisfaction, particularly, I mean, that is not that easy.
Mm,
It may sound easy,
mm,
but to me, satisfaction is nuance within itself.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I think now I'm thinking about eating. Sorry, I just
Mhm.
immediately am starting to
Yeah.
eating.
Yeah.
But I think it applies to all of it, right? To me, these are very much the same thing when it comes to movement.
Mm,
It's just not it's not in my scope of practice to talk as much about movement except for the yoga piece. So
mm-hmm.
I'm going to let you guys chime in. But understanding, like if you have been craving lasagna, you're not going to be satisfied by a BLT, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to pay attention to so many different aspects of your present experience. Yes, you're going to feel more satisfied if there's fat and protein and carbohydrate. Yes, you may have your own particular, like I like to end my meal with a little taste of sweetness or a little crunchiness. I mean, when I talk to clients, they have their own preferences around texture and tastes and cravings, and that's going to shift and change. Like if you did not get a lot of sleep last night, or if you spent a lot of time doing outdoors activities or gardening, you're going to have more appetite following that. Your body does have its own dynamic. I say our bodies are dynamic ecosystems.
Mm,
We're not the same every day. We're very dynamic. And so listening to preferences and appetite and cravings, I think guides your way to that satisfaction.
mm-hmm.
You can then have the experience of stopping when you're satisfied, which feels so good to people who have felt out of control, who have felt all over the place with disorder in their eating, or have followed some sort of external rule set so that they feel like they're only doing it right if they
Mm,
like count the points or meet the macros. Like messing all of that up and starting to realize that your body is wired to teach you that. And again, we've talked about how that's not true for everybody. I also work with a lot of neurodiversity, and that's not always the case.
mm,
That may be a little bit slippery or not quite as clear for some people. It
mm,
also changes with the season of your life. Like
Yeah.
when you guys are in perimenopause, you may have a roller coaster of an appetite to track.
mm,
Hot flashes change appetite, appetite change hot flash. I mean, all of that is
mm,
dynamic.
mm,
Your appetite may shift and change there too. As
mm,
I've gotten older, my appetite is not nearly as strong as it once was.
mhm,
That's real. That's my body changing.
mm,
It's reflective of the changes in my body. It's my appetite is tracking with that.
mm.
So
And it's coming to accepting that rather than fighting it and fixing it. That's
absolutely. Or
important, isn't it?
noticing it in the first place. I mean, the slowing down that you said early on is necessary for all of this as well. I mean, slowing down and checking in with yourself
Mm,
as you make choices and while you're eating is that will guide you. Not always.
mm,
I
It's
was
just,
I was a whitewater kayaker at another chapter in my life, and I use many analogies from that experience in that you have to practice. Do you know what the roll is? You have to have the capacity to roll your kayak when you're in the rapids.
freaks me out so much. Otherwise, I would give it a go. That is the thing that stops me from even going anywhere near a kayak. It's just,
Well, I don't know if we have time for this. I'll try to make this brief, but you have
mm,
to practice doing that
yeah.
in a pool with people you trust around you, where everything is a known quantity.
Mm,
And you practice it and practice it and practice it and practice it until you literally have muscle memory.
yeah.
Your body knows how to do it.
Yeah.
And then you go to a lake where there's a little less control, but still pretty controllable. And you have people that you trust along the way.
Mhm.
And then you go to a gentle river. And so you take those steps,
Mm,
learn like my body does this regardless of the experiences, all the externals around me. So
mm,
it's the same for eating. I say it's always the same for eating when you're trying to practice developing this interoception. You have
mm,
to practice slowing down and having a controlled setting, like an afternoon snack every day, where you really try to eat slowly and check in with yourself.
mm.
Don't do it like at a dinner party where
Yeah.
you're in the rapids of the eating, or a family event where people are saying unhelpful things. Like that's the rapids. You don't
Mm,
expect this kind of connection to your body and listening to your body when you're in those places. But over time, you do develop access to this muscle memory with your body. With it takes time.
mm. I love that analogy. Totally.
mm.
It's brilliant.
It's, do you ever still, you don't do it still then, Deb?
Don't.
No.
I would do some gentle, like recreational, but not whitewater. Mm-mm.
Ah, scary, isn't it?
Really?
I don't
Well,
need
also super exciting.
It's
my
really,
my nervous system doesn't want more adrenaline.
I know, I think I used to, it's interesting. I used to do cold water swimming. So I live in Brighton by the
Um,
sea in the South Coast. And I used to go into the water. We used to go in as a group when it was properly choppy. And I used to dive through freezing cold water. Now
wow.
I don't want to go near it. I don't want to, it's too cold. And it's just that change within sort of 3 or 4 years, completely different. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of going with it because I just don't feel that need to do it. I don't feel that pull towards it. So I'm kind of
It's
just,
another example of the things that we should be doing. We should all be going
mhm.
into the cold water and swim in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I kind of am really interested. We're talking a lot about our relationship to our bodies.
Mm.
Do you ever, so Stephanie Michelle, who I know you were on her podcast recently, she was on ours as well, and she talks about the living body versus the objectified body and
Mm,
how sometimes she is in that objectified body state and it's trying to get
sure.
back into the living state or the living body state. And do you sort of go between both? Are you mainly the living body? Do you kind of fluctuate, oscillate between both? Or are you kind of, after all the years of work, are you mainly the living body?
Well, I think what happens is when I find myself caught in judging, criticizing, looking at my body, I have practiced this enough, and practice is the word,
Practice, yeah.
that I notice and bring myself back into different way of thinking. And I've written about this too. It depends on the mood I'm in. Sometimes I'm fuck patriarchy. Sometimes I'm
Yeah.
just like straight up, like I know this is somebody else's idea is in my head, and I'm
Yes.
measuring myself against somebody else's idea, and I know that, and that's very helpful. And sometimes I just feel real sassy, and it helps me just get out of it.
Oh, good.
Sometimes it's much more loving. And
Hmm.
I remember, how supportive my body has been. And I really do believe that my body is always on my side. Like I have that relationship. My body is on my side and carrying me through and always has. Is not. And I know that's not true for everybody. I also have
Mm.
clients with disabilities and cancer stories, and I have a much more complicated way of experiencing that.
Mm.
I also like sometimes one of the I'm going to the coast in a couple of weeks, and you know, of course, I'm trying on my swimsuit, and yeah, it's I don't think it ever gets any easier around that kind of exposure. And so I have to practice. I have to process like
Mm.
these judgmental thoughts that are coming up.
Mm.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think it's quite nice just to hear that it is about practice. It's not just,
Mhm.
as easy as, or it's not just some people are able to do it, some people aren't. It's work. I just see it as every day. I work at it a little bit because
Okay.
every day your body is changing in some way. And
Yeah.
you can't, I don't know, I find it strange now because it is. I'm now to my kids, I'm very old. And but people have started calling me madam. And I'm like, what? What
Well,
what
that's
do
just
you
rude.
mean? I'm like, what do you mean, madam? And nobody's looking for my ID anymore. And that is, it doesn't matter at all. But it's something I have to adapt myself to because I'm naturally my brain will go to self-criticism and need to fix it, need to, get all the eye creams, need to. And
Mhm.
it is work, but
Mm.
it's much easier the more you practice, the
Mm.
much easier to kind of, I don't know, get into that more embodied state. And I
Mhm.
always say to clients who struggle with the body image so much when they come to me is if you're really struggling, just get into the body and move a little bit. So like you said about the dancing, just get into the body and so that you're sort of closer to it and you remember that relationship where you just remember that we're not objectified beings. We're not ornaments. Our bodies are not just there to be stared at.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Ella, what would you say to that?
Yeah, no, totally agree with that. I think adaptation is the key here, isn't it? That we constantly have to adapt to things changing. And I think with that practice that you both mentioned, that is possible. But if we are stuck in when we were in our 20s, then we can't adapt and then we feel shit basically, and we
Yeah.
feel like we're not doing it right or whatever. But if we adapt and we acknowledge the fact that as we age our bodies change, our minds change, our brains change, everything changes, the way that we are perceived changes, the way that people respond to us or address us changes. We just, if we practice that flexibility and that sort of
Yeah.
almost taking it in our stride and processing it in real time, I think it is a lot easier than if we feel like we always have to go back to how things used to be when it was just easier in inverted commas. So I think it is, yeah, there's so much truth in what you both just said about practice and adaptation.
Yeah. And I think, sorry, underneath this is ageism.
Mm,
Yeah.
I think we
Yeah.
have to address
mm-hmm,
the
Totally
story
true.
that you carry about being old.
mm-hmm,
I am finding myself so frustrated on Instagram
mm-hmm,
because is it the algorithm or are you guys seeing like people are talking about this more? People are talking about aging and ageism more. Maybe it's just the algorithm.
mm, mm,
But when I hear people talk about it, a lot of times it feels like they're still very ageist in the things that they're saying. They don't realize it. They don't
mm-hmm,
really understand that they're also continuing to make old bad.
mm-hmm,
Like
Mhm.
people want to say, don't let the old man in, don't let the old woman in, like don't allow yourself to think of yourself as old. Is like a
mm,
goal, but
mm.
that means that you perceive old to be bad.
Bad,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I feel like we have to do some work on how old is another narrative, just like fat, just
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
like we make bodies bad. We make a good and a bad way of being in a body, and old is just another one on the list.
yeah.
Like old really just means you've been here longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
That's all it
privilege.
means.
It is a privilege. Mhm.
But
That
it
is
does,
so true.
we have to really look at all of the associations we have
Mm,
made about old.
mm,
Recognize that that's all narrative.
Mhm.
That's the exact experience. I mean, I'm 67 and I feel great and I'm doing whatever I want.
mm,
I
Yeah.
mean, I am very excited about this time in my life.
mm,
I have more options. I
mm,
don't feel so much pressure about so many things.
mm,
I'm fortunate in that I'm very healthy and
mm,
that I'm aware of right this minute. I also know all of that is temporary.
mhm,
Anything could happen. I could be disabled tomorrow. I mean,
mhm,
all of us could, but that's more true as we get older.
mhm.
But for now, I feel very like just like I always have. And I
But
think
I think it's such an important point you brought up because there's massive amount of internalized ageism in all of us, well,
all of us
especially,
all the time.
yeah, you
Mm,
just, especially with internalized fat phobia as well, which I've had to look at
Same.
a
mhm,
lot within
It's
mhm,
myself.
the same. To me, it's all the same. Once you recognize that thoughts are showing up about body size, you can just tack on the age piece because it's right here. It's
yeah,
the
Yeah.
same.
yeah,
And
yeah.
practice the same. I mean, this is another opportunity for practice, recognizing the associations we make with young and the associations we make with old. Write it all down and then give it a good laugh because it's all
Yeah.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
And it is that thing if I turned 50 and people, I got quite annoyed because some people were like, oh, you look good for 50. And I was like, oh, you don't look
Mm,
50. And I'm like, that is the biggest compliment you can give somebody. You don't look as old as you are. What
mhm,
is, I'm not,
Yeah.
just made me sort of think again, what is wrong with looking your age? Why are
Yeah.
we, it's like when we have babies, we want to look like we've never had babies.
mm,
And it's
Right.
it's a similar thing when you're 50, you want to look like you're 35. What?
mhm,
Yep.
And it's why? And there's almost shame if you look
Yeah.
the age that you are. And it is,
mm,
Yeah. Shame is the really important piece. Right. And that's all because of the narrative. That's all because we've been told it's bad. Yeah. It's a lot to push against. It's a lot. That's why I wrote my book, because it's a
mm.
lot to push against.
Yeah.
Recognizing that it is worthwhile to push against it too.
yeah, yeah,
Definitely. But it's also important to just to start recognizing it because just like, the fat phobia and anti-fat bias, that's something that a lot of people aren't really aware of. They just compliment someone, oh, you lost weight, you look great, that kind of narrative. It's the same thing with what Christine just said. Oh, you don't look 50, you look good for your age. All of that kind of narrative is seemingly fine, compliments, whatever we want to call it. But actually underlying it is, no, there's a good and bad kind of binary here, isn't it?
Absolutely. And
Mm.
that is fascinating to me, and you guys probably already know this, but that we actually have data now that shows that it affects our longevity the way we perceive aging.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Right.
Generalized ageism decreases your life expectancy by 7.5 years. If you have a positive mindset and like embrace that aging, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you
Mm.
have an expectation that aging is like a vital process for you and it's not so scary, it literally changes your brain and your life expectancy.
Wow.
It's wild.
That is, and I've heard that research before, but I've also heard it in terms of dementia as well, and kind of delaying dementia diagnoses. Because my
Yep.
mum recently passed with dementia, but my granny on my mum's side and my other granny both had dementia. My brother and I think we're surrounded by it, and people. My brother is like, "Oh, we're gonna get it as well," and I refuse to kind of. I'm like, "Well, why would you think that? Well, it's not helpful. It's not actually going to help." Anything to think that's, and I just have a very positive approach to it. And I do, and there's research behind that as well, that it's that
Absolutely.
self-fulfilling prophecy of worrying about it constantly. And every thought you have in your head is, hold on, I can't remember that. And
Mm.
it reminded me of what you're saying because I don't think that's said enough.
Yeah,
Mm.
I
I think
think it's
that,
really important. It's Becca Levy's research and it's in the resource section of my book. And I mean, I cite her research. It's really important to read.
Mm.
Yeah.
that's exciting, Ella.
Very excited. I cannot wait to get my hands on your book. I really can't. I'm really
Started
excited to
thinking
read it.
about it.
I know I have it propped up. So where I teach in my home studio, I have your book propped up on the bookshelf so that everybody, so it's kind of standing. And lots of people have gone, oh, that's nice. And I'm like, yeah. So it's just, that's kind of for me, I've always had kind of books that I think are very important for my
Mm.
clients to kind of check into. But
Mm.
Deb, we cannot thank you enough. We could chat to you for a lot longer and
I could keep talking too. I feel like we've just skimmed the surface.
just,
It's
and
so
We have.
we might have to invite you back, mightn't we?
Yeah, I think maybe
great.
part two.
We need a
Yeah,
part
that'd be great.
two. Yeah, but thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
time. And we're going to put everything in the show notes
Definitely.
and details of your book. How, if we want to work with you, what's the best way to contact you, Deb?
My name is the name of my website.
Brilliant.
On Substack, you can find me. I mean, you can find me on Instagram and on Substack just by using Deb Benfield. Yeah.
Hmm.
Brilliant.
Easy. Perfect.
We'll put it all in the show notes. But for now, thank you so much for joining. And for all our listeners, we will see
Thank you.
you next.